Let's get on to content marketing. So you were quoted as saying like our business was built on content and copy. And you said I don't know if you never have done paid advertising, but it sounds like it's not most of your business.
We've done it now and again throughout the history of Fringe, but right now we do no PPC, like $0.
You probably just don't need to right now, especially too, right?
I mean, right now we don't need to. The dynamics are changing a little bit. And so definitely supply is equilibrating, coming equal basically to demand. And so things are changing rapidly. I will say that almost all of my friends, actually, I was telling you this when we were by a pool last week, and there was another e-commerce guy that was with us, and he was like, I told you that some of my friends think I'm stupid, and he immediately was like, yes, you need to be doing paid spend. So I hear that from a lot of people. That said, again, just like I told you, my business was built on content and copy. And to talk a little bit more about that, I love to read, and I've always loved to write. Back in college, I took way more writing component courses than I was required to, and all of my friends who were taking the writing component courses were complaining about them. Oh, I got to write all these papers. And I was like, I love writing these papers. Like, I get great grades on these papers, and it's like, you know, actually enjoyable to me. So I've always loved writing and reading. And so when I started Fringe, I made a bunch of mistakes. Like, we had crappy photos. We had, you know, maybe not doing PPC was a mistake, I don't know, crappy social, all that stuff. But from the beginning, I always focused on product pages and emails. And I was writing all of them. So I've been doing Fringe for 11 years. I was writing every email and every product page for the first 6 or 7 years of our existence. And I don't do that anymore, but I miss it badly, honestly. I love writing that stuff. And I'm looking behind you and I see like breakthrough advertising on your bookshelf. And I'm also a customer of Copywriting Course.
Woo.
Yeah, woohoo, Copywriting Course. And I think you were the one who recommended in Copywriting Course the Boron Letters. Do you recommend that?
Yep, all time.
So I read the Boron Letters. Pretty sure you had recommended it to me, and that's where I read it. And then, do you also recommend Ogilvy on Advertising?
Those are my top 3: Halbert Letters, Ogilvy on Advertising, and then Joseph Sugarman's book, Advertising Secrets of the Written Word. Those are my top 3.
I'm going to check out Secrets of the Written Word because I've not read that one. But so I always loved to write, and I was always writing all this stuff for Fringe. And then whenever I heard about Copywriting Course or met you, I immediately bought the Boron Letters and the other 2 that I had mentioned. And they changed my approach to content and copy. And I started to understand more how to write hooky and how to write better CTAs that are also really interesting to read. And so one of the things that I get is when I used to send out emails, people would reply back to me, and sometimes they would, like a lot of time, people would say, I didn't buy anything, but I loved reading this email. Nice. So I was like, oh shit, why didn't you buy something? But at the same time, like, I loved hearing that from them. And so that just caused me to double down because I already loved to write. We were growing in revenue and profitability and all the stuff like that. And people would just talk to me and be like, hey, I love your emails. And so that was something that we just flowed through Fringe. And now that's something that I try to teach my content people. Is one of the big things that I try to teach them, the difference between content, which I view as more top of funnel and more education and awareness related, and then copy, which I view as more mid funnel to bottom funnel, which is more, in my mind, conversion related. And then at what point do you write content and at what point do you write copy, and how do you kind of cross over between the two?
70-30.
There you go.
Yeah, I always have an answer for that. 70% content, 30% sales.
I love it.
And I remember, so obviously with AppSumo, like you remember the AppSumo emails, we used to get that exact same type of thing where it was just like, people are like, I don't need this right now, but this is really fun to read. Like, thanks for this. And then people would be like, why am I reading your emails? You're literally trying to sell me something every day. And I'm just like, well, it's because I give you 70% actual good content. And then about 30% of the email, I'm trying to sell you something or less. Or you can make that 90% content, 10% sales. And in that was my ratio, that if you stay about 30% sales or less on most of your emails, you'll not piss people off enough to like get them to leave. So if they're still learning something, but they're just like, oh, there's a little bit of sales. And usually you can make the sales fun too.
Yeah.
You don't have to just be like, buy, buy, buy. There's other ways you can sell people on stuff.
Yeah.
You can show them why it's good for them, why it help them.
I totally agree.
People like hearing that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Well, and to delve a little bit more into that, so we sell about 15 barbells on Fringe Sport. And if you're not really into this, so one thing I tell people at parties, if they ask me just a one line, what do you do? I tell them, I sell barbells to people who care a little bit too much about barbells.
Okay.
And so either you get it or you don't. It's kind of like, I used to be a top status on United Airlines. And when you hang out with other of these people who are, you know, these road warriors who are top status, almost everyone has a Toomey bag. And a Toomey bag costs 10 times as much as a almost equivalent bag that you could buy at Costco. Costco had like a Victorinox, like similar model. And the people who are the road warriors, that slight, subtle difference, or the way the Toomey was better, was worth to them 10x because they were so into it. So to take this back to barbells, anybody can walk into Dick's Sporting Goods or a local Play It Again Sports or something like that and buy a barbell that costs 50% to 75% of my cheapest barbell on Fringe Sport. It's going to weigh the same amount, and then generally speaking, it's going to lift the same amount of weight. But for our customers, there's a reason to spend more, like at minimum kind of twice as much more, to maybe 5, 6, 7 times as much more. And so when it comes back to like writing the copy, it's not only trying to get somebody to want to buy a better barbell, it's also actually to discourage people for whom this barbell is not for you. So for example, a powerlifting bar, a dedicated powerlifting bar, has this really aggressive cross-hatching or knurling on the shaft. So if you are a powerlifter, it's like, I want to lift as much weight as possible in squat, deadlift, and bench, and that's all I care about. You want that super aggressive knurl. But if you're almost any other type of lifter, the knurl is going to just chew up your hands. Like it's going to create these big calluses. It's going to tear these calluses on your hand, and it's a terrible bar for you. So one of the things that we try to say is like, don't buy this barbell unless, and that we're providing education, but also, you know, back to, you know, the making it fun to read, like we can provide humor. Like we can make fun of powerlifters in a loving way.
Yeah, I'll always tell people, like, don't call it content marketing, call it education marketing.
I love that.
Just educate them.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to sell anything. If you educate them enough, they will internally want that product.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that's a great thing. So instead of being like, buy this barbell, you show them, like, you talk about the gnarling on the thing, and then they're like, oh, that's me or not me.
Yeah.
Okay. That's awesome. Is this true with all the marketers or sort of the founders you've seen? The companies that are really good at content marketing generally have a founder that was interested in content. I dare say never have seen it the other way around. So you think about someone like HubSpot or something, the founder Dharmesh is like really good at writing videos and content and giving presentations. Or like Steve Jobs or something was just a good as like presenting. Like those types of founders are good at content. Have you seen it like that? Or have you ever seen like the founder like never puts out content, but is like somehow really good at hiring people?
I agree 100%. And I would actually even go slightly further to the founder is typically a fan of a specific channel or type of content. So to bring this back,
yes.
Every time I run it, I'm friends with Eric Bandholz from Beard Brand, which love Beard Brand.
Huge YouTube channel, million.
Yes, huge YouTube channel. Every time I see Eric, he's like, Pete, you are missing the boat on YouTube because our YouTube channel for Fringe is pretty small. And he's 100% right, but Eric is really into that YouTube channel. I have not ever really been into that YouTube channel. And so Fringe, I've like handicapped Fringe on that. So Fringe has not really done well on that channel. But I think that if I were a more natural, like YouTube type of person, then we would probably do better. So I totally agree with what you said about that.
That's a great point. Like sometimes the founders are really good at writing, so their writing stuff tends to be good. And then when they hire writers, they tend to hire writers that are kind of like them, and they train them so those writers are good at writing. Okay, very interesting. Also, Eric Banholtz is like a really, really good looking man. And so, for us, or I'll speak for myself, sixes over here, we can't compete with you, Eric. Jesus.
He's a tall drink of water.
Yeah, exactly. Even on YouTube, you could tell that he's huge. Like, he's so big. So social media then, so you're saying YouTube is not your strongest point because that wasn't like your thing. So what social media channel is, or what marketing?
Man, so right now Instagram is decent for Fringe, but we're also, so one of the things, I don't know if you heard of this before, but I guess it keys into what we were just mentioning earlier. I'm not very social. And that has kind of bled into the company a little bit because I'm just not enthusiastic about Instagram or even Facebook or YouTube. And so our biggest like social channel is email right now, basically. Like that is how I know email is not a social channel, quote unquote, but like that's how we communicate most effectively with our customers. I'm trying to get better because I see, trying to push Fringe to get better because I see so many brands that are doing well on A, YouTube, B, Instagram, and then C, like TikTok is like this dark horse coming out of nowhere.
Yeah.
When somebody features our barbell, or usually it's some bumper plates on TikTok, like we see this, and it goes viral, of course, we see this massive spike of traffic and it actually converts. I mean, low conversion rate, but it does convert. Whereas previously, sometimes Reddit, for example, can send massive spikes of traffic that don't convert. So it's pretty crazy. So Instagram's our best quote unquote social channel right now, but even then it's a little bit handicapped because it's not something that I'm personally really interested in. And I think that we're struggling on that channel as a company as a result.
Huh. So then what about, SEO? Okay. So I did a quick, maybe we'll put up a screenshot or something like that. I did a quick little ahrefs.com, look at Fringe Sport. So you'll have a lot of SEO traffic. You'll get a ton. So search engine optimization, of course. Is this something you focus on? And I'll tell you the thing I found is Sujin Patel, I don't know, another entrepreneur guy who runs a ton of software companies. He was talking about SEO. He's known for SEO. And he's like, I really don't care about like someone searching for the term like follow-up email and we're number one. Like that's cool. But most of those people are just kind of like, what is a follow-up email? They're not really ready to buy. Whereas if they type in like Mailshake, one of his companies, follow-up email, he's like, that's what we want, the branded search. So on yours, you have a lot of traffic, but the granddaddy, biggest keyword by like a mile, like 90% or something, is Fringe Sport. So I was almost jealous because like, I think I get more SEO traffic than you overall for all the different keywords, but you murder on just people looking up your brand name, which is the best because they're like, I don't care what else is out there. I'm going to Fringe Sport. Is that accurate from my spying on your site?
Yeah, that's totally accurate. And I think that a lot of people, because if you look at it, of course, Fringe Sport, Fringe Sports, and then various other derivations, like there's a lot of Fringe Fitness, there's like Fringe Bumper Plate.
But Google knows that's all the same thing.
Right.
Yeah.
So I actually think part of it is because we're not doing paid spend like other people are. And so maybe they're having trouble finding us in like, the top of the search or something like that. Or maybe we just have a name that people somewhat forget, what exactly the name is. So they just like go to Google and be like, hey, I'll type in the branded keyword to get there.
I don't know. The reason, so I remember like even before I met you, I would see Fringe Sport like on bumper plates, right? And it would say Fringe Sport. And then I'd be like, oh, if I want gym equipment, I guess I type in the name of a brand. I'm not trying to think like what brand or kettlebells. I don't even know. Yeah. And so I just type in like Fringe Sport. So I assume that's part of it. Just your branding is everywhere.
Yeah. But we actually don't do any SEO. We don't have any internal focus on our own branded keyword search. So we're not trying to like manipulate the results or do anything like that. I just view that as some sort of like measure of brand strength. I guess like the better that we're doing just kind of generically as a brand, the more our branded keyword is going to be searched for in Google.
Well, Fringe Sport, the correct spelling, had 10,000 a month volume, and usually on Ahrefs, so multiply that by 3 is my rough metric. So 30,000 plus all the long tail ones. So I'm suspecting there's like 50,000 plus people searching you a month just for Fringe Sport.
Yeah.
Or some derivation of like Fringes Sport or something like that. Yeah. That's well, congrats. That's awesome. You're not even trying, but you're killing it. Yeah. I hate you.
Well, we do try at SEO. We just don't try at necessarily the branded SEO, let's say. And what we try at SEO is we try to produce a lot of content that is really helping people. And we've even kind of pivoted slightly as the Garage Gym Revolution, GGR, has mainstreamed, because one of the things that we found is that our previous customers who were building garage gyms, what they were doing is they were high school or collegiate athletes who post-collegiate or post-high school or whatever join a gym. And in many cases, it's what we call LCG, local community gym, like Squatch or something like that. And then they decide to build a gym in their garage, which they may keep their gym membership or they may not, but they're having this, they've been steeped in athletics and in gym culture before they build a gym. However, now what we're seeing with this mainstreaming and crossing the chasm of the Garage Gym Revolution is that there are a lot of people who aren't steeped in that athletic background and or that gym background, who then decide to build a gym and then they don't know what to do with it. And so we're producing a lot of educational content around things, how do you use a gym to lose weight? How do you use a gym to get stronger? And then even like micro things like, and this is maybe sounds silly to you, but like, how do you load plates on a barbell? Because one of the things that hardcore gym rat or meathead would know is that you load the heavier weights to the inside. And if the weights are if the weights have one side that's blank and one side that's branded, the branded side faces away from you, being in the middle of the barbell. That's just like a normal gym thing. So for example, if I was at the gym and I saw someone loading plates and they put the lighter plates on the inside and the heavier plates on the outside, I'll be like, what the hell is that person doing? But nobody ever teaches people like that, right? Nobody says do that. They just see what people are doing at the gym and then they emulate. So if you're building a gym in your garage and you're not getting this like learning by osmosis, like you just don't know this stuff. And so we try to help educate people on that.